It's been almost 20 years, but it finally happened. Thanks to Shout Factory, Power Rangers has officially been released on DVD with the Power Rangers Seasons 1 through 7 from Mighty Morphin to Lost Galaxy box sets.
Yes, I'm a Power Rangers fan. And yes, I know it's cheesy. I know the acting's poor, and I know the writing is simplistic and repetitive, but it's still one of the bigger parts of my childhood that I remember. And to be honest, I still get a kick out of watching some of these old episodes in a way. Not to mention, how can you go wrong with a show about a giant talking head in a tube giving teenagers brightly colored spandex costumes and giant robot dinosaurs to fight dudes in rubber monster costumes in Godzilla-esque fight scenes? Come on! That's like a formula for win over there, man. So if there's anything that Power Rangers was really lacking, it was actually some seasoned DVD sets. I mean, Captain Planet got one, and Captain Planet's 10 times cheesier than Power Rangers ever was. I mean, why can't we get some seasons of Power Rangers too, right? But with the 20th anniversary steadily approaching, we finally get the collection that we've all been waiting for. And let me tell you something, it's pretty damn good.
Sold exclusively through Time Life for the price of $219.95, this set, as promised, contains all the 338 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Lost Galaxy. Shout Factory's made an earlier announcement that they're going to be releasing these season sets as well as the rest of the series individually, but this box set is a good opportunity for fans to get these sets early before they hit stores. The seasons are split up into two boxes. The first contains seasons 1 through 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as well as the 10-part Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers miniseries, while the second contains seasons 4 through 7, or better known by fans as Power Rangers Zeo, Turbo, In Space, and Lost Galaxy. When these DVDs were first announced, one of the big things that fans were wondering is how these episodes were going to look. And while I can confirm highly that these transfers are pretty good, I also have to sadly admit that they're not perfect. Each episode for the series is presented in its original 4.3 aspect ratio, with bold colors that thankfully don't become heavily saturated or washed out. Contrast levels seem to be good throughout the most part, though I will admit with newer seasons they get much better. And while not being in exactly the most pristine detail, it is cleaned up enough to look much brighter and less fuzzier than it has in previous years. True, this really doesn't hold a candle to say most television releases. In fact, this isn't really a 1080p remastering that we probably all wanted. But considering this was a low-budget kids show incorporating footage, most likely third to fourth generation masters from a low-budget Japanese show, this could have looked a whole lot worse. But as it still stands, this is the best the series has looked in quite a while. The audio isn't quite up to par too with modern releases, as it's just a simple 2 audio channel track. Yet, considering again that this show really wasn't made when 5.1 Dolby Surround was the standard for most releases, it's quite forgivable, however, as sound effects, voices, and songs are still very clear and understandable. Where this set really shines, however, is the extras. Spread out over 3 DVDs, there are 7 fully produced features that include interviews with as many members of the original cast and crew as they could get back, to talk about their experiences of the show. Whether it's talking about the individual casting of each Ranger, dealing with the ridiculous shooting schedules, which was actually something around 4 episodes a week, and just the overall shock of how popular a phenomenon the show became, especially when it came to shutting down a highway due to the growing attendance of fans for what was supposed to be a small event at Universal Studios. Each one is well produced and is also very informative while being entertaining. One of my favorite features on here, though, has to be Behind the Mask, which takes a look at the stunt team behind Power Rangers. I thought it was actually pretty cool to see these people get acknowledged for once, especially since I thought that they made the show just as much as the actors playing the Rangers. Another favorite of mine is Tales of the Giant Banana, which takes a look back at the 2 best Power Rangers characters that have ever lived.
Oh no, look who's here. Bone and Stone.
These guys were the best back in the day. I mean, these guys were the Abbott and Costello, my generation. And you bet I was pretty stoked to see that they got their own extra. Just like the other features, this is just as entertaining and informative as all the others. Though, who knew that Bulk and Skull were actually professionally trained actors who starred in Hamlet?
And of course, while we were doing the show, Paul Schreier and I tried to keep ourselves sharp. We did theater on the side whenever we could. We did couple productions of Hamlet.
We asked Catherine, because she was like a #1 actress on the #1 kid show in the world, to play our Ophelia in the production that I was Hamlet. So I had this weird kind of line cross where I had to love and sabotage her as Ophelia. playing my fat Hamlet.
Huh. Aside from the features, there's also a great collection of archival material that they've gathered up, including the Lost Episode special hosted by Austin St. John and Walter Jones, the original promo build-up to Power Rangers Zeo, a collection of rare Power Rangers VHS tapes like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Fan Club, the Power Rangers Live World Tour, the White Ranger Karate video, both Halloween and Christmas specials, and even the Bulk and Skull video special too. The biggest and probably the best is an Easter egg that actually shows the original pitch to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I won't spoil where this feature is located, but once you find it, it really is interesting to see what this show might have looked like. If you thought Power Rangers was cheesy now, just be glad they didn't go with the original pitch. It doesn't even stop there with features too. Each box comes with one of two booklets that contain character bios, episode descriptions, set photos, and even intros detailing the origin of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers storyline. Man, they spoiled us with this set, didn't they? While there's a lot of great material on this set, there are a couple of things that might irk some fans. While I did like all the retrospective features included on the set, I did find that for the most part, they really stepped around the more controversial elements behind the show. Things like the firing of Austin St. John, Walter Jones, and Tui Trang, as well as the stories of the homophobia that David Yost faced on the set by crew members, which eventually led him to leave during Zeo, are really barely touched upon, if not glossed over, despite having interviews with Yost and Jones. I also found that most of the focus on these features is only set on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. For example, they actually went out of their way to actually bring in two actors from Lost Galaxy, and yet at no point are they actually really given a chance to talk or even so much as mention one little thing about Lost Galaxy. Why would you bring in two actors from one show and not even give them a chance to talk about it? Hell, even the feature that talks about the casting for the Power Rangers, they're barely in it. Why even bring them on the set? Why? Look, I can understand that most people think Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the best and that it's the most memorable of the series, but that doesn't mean all the other seasons weren't as well. What if somebody was a really big fan of Zeo and really wanted to see some nice retrospective features on it? They'd be just really disappointed to see that all that amounts from their favorite season are two television promos and a music video. It'd be like buying the complete third season of Star Trek The Next Generation, only to find that all the extras, including the commentary, just talk about things from the previous season, not even once mentioning anything that happened with this season. While I did say before that the discs do have an impressive amount of archival material added onto it, I did feel like there was some stuff that surprisingly really wasn't included on here. For example, some of the original Fox Kids promos that aired, the Green Ranger Karate Fan Club video, audition footage that they actually showed at Power Morphicon, and even some of the vintage toy commercials weren't even on here. I really don't know why they didn't add them to the set. Maybe they thought they would run out of space, but come on, you have 3 DVDs. Was it really that hard to produce another disc and just go all out? Oh, speaking of discs, these 3 discs are only exclusive to these box sets. So if, say, you're a fan who's interested in buying a couple of the individual season releases with the hope that some of these extras will be ported over, then you're pretty much out of luck, pal. Not that I'm saying that fans shouldn't get this set, but for those that don't really have the money or just want a certain season, it seems highly unfair they'll just have to get a bare-bones season set, even if they are reasonably priced. So, if you want these, then you better get that, because let me tell you, you ain't gonna find one of these.
Yet despite these flaws, however, this is still a very impressive release. I mean, for the first time, a company has actually given Power Rangers fans enough respect as to release a product with the same amount of care and quality that you'd find with any other TV release. If this was any other company, they'd probably just release some bare-bones DVD with subpar transfers and these tacky still menus. But with Shout Factory, they gave us detailed booklets, archival footage, retrospective documentaries, early DVDs that have yet to be released, good transfers and good audio tracks, and just to put a cherry on top of this sundae of awesomeness, an exclusive Red Ranger action figure with actual dragon shield? Take that, Captain Planet! So if you're a hardcore Power Rangers fan, you really don't need me to tell you to pick these up. In fact, you probably already have them right now, you lucky bastards. But, say like me, you're a casual fan who wants to really watch these episodes for some of the nostalgic value or just to see if they still hold up as an adult watching them. I'd say you're better off investing in one of the individual season sets or just watching a couple of episodes on Netflix. Simply because when you go back to really watch some of these shows, or just any show you used to watch as a kid, sometimes you'll like them just as much as you did back then, or more often, you're going to feel really embarrassed that you watched them to begin with. And when you feel really embarrassed about watching these, you don't want to invest in $219.95 for it. But if you do decide to invest on this set, you will be getting one of the best releases for the show I have ever seen. And like me, you'll be really satisfied that you did.